A team puts their coding agent on the night shift, so every 20 minutes a schedule wakes it and it fixes whatever they tagged for it. For 2 weeks, it's lovely, and Rosa, who owns the repo, finds small fixes waiting politely for review with her coffee. Then, one night, the package registry has an outage, and every install step on Earth starts failing, including the one inside the agent's run. The run dies at the installed step, and the issue keeps its label. So, as far as the schedule is concerned, the job is still waiting. So, the next trigger starts the job again, and the agent, remembering nothing of its last attempt, begins fresh. Fresh means a new branch and a new pull request for the same fix. So, of course, it's the same install failure at the same step. Nothing counts the attempts, nothing makes it wait longer between them, and nothing wakes a human because nobody wrote those rules. The outage lasts most of the night, and the trigger is patient. By morning, there are 41 pull requests with the same title from 41 branches, every one of them read at the same line. Rosa's morning starts with 41 copies of the same apology, one per branch, all of them from her own agent. The dashboard shows 41 red runs in a tidy column, and no rule anywhere says that many failures is an emergency. Here is a sentence to hold every single decision in that chain was reasonable and nobody decided the night. Freeze it there because the exam's biggest scoring area ends right here, with an agent running in automation and nobody awake to catch it. Here is the shape it will hand you. A team's agent runs all night on a schedule. A registry outage makes every run fail, so which design prevents the morning mess? Add a line to the agent's instructions telling it to retry carefully and give up when something seems wrong. B page an on-call person the moment any nightly run fails every time, so a human always decides. C classify the failure, retry on a budget that ends, roll back when it does, then escalate once with the evidence. Let it keep retrying until the registry recovers because autonomy is the point of the night shift. 3 of those are traps, and by the end of the episode, you'll spot each one before you finish reading it. That question parks in the corner while you learn to run the night shift on purpose. We're still on the agent's hands, the part of the exam about doing the work, and tonight nobody is watching those hands. We go in 3 moves: how the agent gets started, where it's allowed to work, and what happens when the work fails at 3 in the morning. By the end, you'll have one short checklist for every night shift question the exam can ask, and we build it a step at a time. Start with how the agent gets to work at all, because in automation nobody hands it an issue, a trigger does. The study guide calls this invoking an agent in a CI workflow, so what you are choosing is which doorbell the agent answers. Our team's doorbell was a schedule, and it rang all night whether the last run had worked or not, which is how one failure became 41. So the trigger is a permission of its own, and a label anyone may apply is a run anyone may start, which is worth locking down to. The agent wakes up inside a workflow job, and that job is a room with its own keys, its own secrets, its own reach. The difference tonight is that the agent is in that room on every single run, so whatever the room allows, it allows forever. Whatever secrets and reach that job holds, the agent holds at 3 in the morning with nobody watching. So keep the room small. This repository, the tools the task needs, and nothing you wouldn't hand it in daylight. Autonomous means the agent acts without asking, and the guide's answer to where it may act is a lane of its own branches. Give the agent its own lane, branches under its own prefix, where it can be as busy as it likes without touching anyone's work. It can't say anything to main except through a pull request which a person can read, diff, and refuse. That pull request is the agent's only voice, and keeping it that way is the whole point of the design. Keep the lane tidy, one issue and one branch and one pull request, because 41 branches for one issue reads as broken on site. Have every pull request say which run made it and which trigger started that run, so the reviewer sees the work and where it came from. You met this law in episode 1. An agent must never merge its own work. The protected branch is that sentence made of configuration. Inside the lane, the agent's free. At the fence, a person decides, and the repository itself enforces that fence rather than a promise. Now, the part the cold open was missing, and it starts with the truth about automation itself. In automation, every mistake is a mistake on a schedule. A person who hits a broken registry fails once and tries tomorrow, while an unattended agent fails on every trigger until something says stop. The 41 pull requests were one error multiplied by a clock, and that multiplication is what you are designing against. The guide's checklist begins with classification because a retry only makes sense when the failure is the kind that goes away on its own. An outage, a timeout, a rate limit, those are transient, so retry 3 times and back off, meaning wait longer before each new try. Wrong code and a failing test are real, and retrying a real failure is just the same mistake rehearsed. When the budget runs out, roll it back, take the label off, and leave the lane as clean as the evening found it. If a person already merged the agent's pull request, rolling back means a revert, a fresh commit that undoes the old one. Reverting keeps the history honest, the mistake and its correction, both on the record, which is what accountability means at 2 in the morning. Then escalate exactly once and make that one message carry the evidence which run failed and at which step and how many tries it took. The outage was one fact, so the morning should hold one report of it, and one message is what respects the reader's time. Run the cold open against the checklist and the night shrinks to a single line, tried 3 times, backed off, rolled back, told you at 7. Under all of it, keep receipts, every action traceable back to the run and the trigger, because that's the price of being trusted alone. The parked question, back at full size, and you own the checklist now. Start by naming what's happening, a failure with nobody watching, so the real risk is one mistake, repeating. Option D, retry until it recovers, is the cold open, multiplication with nothing that ever says stop. Option A, the instruction asks a sentence to do a budget's job, which is where episode 1's oldest rule lands. A prompt is not a permission. Retry carefully is a hope. Max attempts 3 is a design, and only one of them holds at 3 in the morning. Option B, paging a person on every failure. Feels safe until you remember episode 1's second rule, size the gate to the risk. A transient blip that wakes a human every time only moves the sleeplessness onto the on-call person, and real alarms drown in that noise. Which leaves option C, the checklist, and it's the only design that answers the outage with a plan instead of a reflex. The night stays autonomous. The person is woken exactly once and woken with the evidence, and the lane is clean when they arrive. Every night, shift stem is this checklist wearing different clothes, find which step is missing, and that's your answer. You didn't have to memorize a single feature name, just the checklist and the honest message it ends with. Here is what you carry out of the night shift and out of the whole domain we've been calling the agent's hands. In automation, every mistake is a mistake on a schedule, so classify, budget, roll back, and escalate once with evidence. The lane plus the protected branch is autonomy with a fence, the repository itself enforces. One thing made the cold open worse than it had to be. The agent remembered nothing between attempts, and memory is a whole domain of this exam. Next episode, what the agent remembers, short term, long term, and the artifacts that survive the night.